Hey, I'm Cynthia, storyteller, spiritual softie, hija de too many identities to count, and one half of this diasporic duo.
And I'm Amy, creative curator, intuitive thinker, hija de inmigrantes, and this is
Decaf Soul.
Welcome, friends, to our second episode of Decaf Soul. Today, we're going to be diving into a topic that's deeply human, complex in many, many ways, and near and dear to our hearts. And that is the experience of immigrant families, communities, and especially migrant children.
Yes, when families arrive in a new country, the journey is rarely easy. For children, it means navigating not only a new culture and language, but also systems that don't always recognize their needs or their strengths. Behind every policy and headline are real families, parents making impossible choices, and children carrying stories of both resilience and loss.
So, to help us unpack this, we are joined by our very good friend, Fabiola Morales. Fabiola was previously a family support specialist, service coordination for unaccompanied minors. So we're going to talk about what it means to grow up between worlds, the challenges that these families and children face when navigating these really, really complex systems, and how communities can really step in and create safety, belonging, care, and also just awareness, especially with the recent executive orders and policies that are being placed in our country right now. So, welcome, Fabiola Morales.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Would you like to
Thank you guys for
introduce
having
yourself?
us.
Yes, tell us about yourself.
So, Fabiola. I am 33 years old. I have lived majority of my life in the U.S. I migrated to the United States when I was about 6 years old, almost 7. That memory is hazy. I can never really give somebody a straight answer at how old I was when I got here because it all just happened so fast.
Okay.
I am the first graduate high school and college of my family. I am the eldest. I am the eldest granddaughter. I am the oldest child. I am the oldest cousin. So I have
first of many.
I have, yes, all the pressure as a Mexican daughter, grandchild, and cousin. And so I came to this country when I was very young, raised here. Morals and values are torn between the American world and the Mexican culture.
Wow. Do you feel like I know you said you don't remember like the exact age that you were here. Do you remember what might have been your first like experience realizing that cultural shock from like being born, living in Mexico, and then like suddenly coming here?
Yeah. So I have a memory of arriving to the U.S. And it's this really hazy, weird memory that I have of highways. We don't have highways at home. When I left, we barely had any pavement. So when I was here and I was picked up from the airport, I was in a car ride and I was looking out the windows and I saw highways.
What is this?
I saw like the famous circles.
Yeah.
Right? And just different traffic lights. Again, we didn't have these, right? And I remember so much, even though I was a child. And, you know, a lot of memories as children, you stop having them at a certain age or you begin to have them at a certain age. And for me, I have them, but they're odd. They're very weird memories because it's not just, you can pinpoint something, it's just highways.
Do you mind me asking, where are you from in Mexico?
Oaxaca.
Okay.
From el estado de Oaxaca. That's where I'm from. I was born in Mexico City.
Okay.
But we did not stay there long. And we moved back to where my mother's family is, which is Oaxaca. Okay. And that's where I was raised up until I came here to the U.S.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. So I think, first of all, I would just want to shout out your dress right now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Is that from Oaxaca?
I'm not really sure where this is from because as my mother likes to remind me, the embroidery, if that's how you pronounce it.
I wish we could do like a zoom in because it's just so
each
beautiful.
region has its own design.
Wow.
So they know where this is from based on the design.
On the design itself.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. It's like that in many countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like For example, Palestine has like each small city or like, you know, town has a different kind of embroidery that they do. And so like when they do it on the dresses, and I find that that's such a beautiful thing, because like the same thing happens in South America, in Mexico, like, so actually like a lot of stories are told through embroidery, and it's like a woman-centered thing, because like not by anything wrong, it's just it is
a story.
You know?
My mom always tells me that it is a story, and she was like, oh, this is from this and this, and you don't understand, it's so expensive, they make it by hand. And I'm like, I had no idea.
I love it.
When
you walked in, I was like, oh,
I know,
she's ready.
So nice.
This is so nice.
Represent, girl.
So I know we wanted to talk a little bit more about like your specific connection to your work as working in migrant children. So we do have some questions that we want to ask you.
Of course.
So first question, what first drew you to working with immigrant families and migrant children in the first place?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, I came here when I was a child, right? So I, you know, you do what you need to do. Your parents do what they need to do. My mom came a year before me. She came here trying to pave way, trying to make sure that she had something before she sent over for me. Right. And really the main reason why we came here is because I was a very sickly kid. Oh. I was very sick. And the weather and the pollution in Mexico City, where I was born, and even down the coast where my mom's family is from, was detrimental to my health. I couldn't. I'm asthmatic.
Okay.
So I couldn't. And the doctors, you know, all the medication possible, all the steroids possible for my asthma. And they said she really just needs a climate change.
No way.
She needs to go live somewhere where it has all 4 seasons. And so when I came to the U.S., I came by myself with 2 strangers.
Wow.
Because my mother was already here. And my father's not in my life. So when I came here, my mother had to figure out, how am I going to get her here? It's her health. And we're talking back in, maybe 99, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any better. All I knew was I had to memorize a name.
Wow.
So
her name?
No, I had to memorize a name.
Oh, the people that were with you?
Got it.
No,
Got it.
a name. So like I had to memorize a name that I
Got
needed to make sure I had it down before I came.
Right.
So that's all I knew. And this is 6, 7 years old, right? All I knew is that the day that I memorized it was the day that I did a dance recital for school. It was a Catholic school I went to. As soon as that dance recital was done, all I remember was hugging my grandmother crying, and I didn't know why. And the next thing you know, I was on a plane with 2 strangers.
Oh my God.
And so then I came here, had an asthma attack once.
You came here, you had an asthma attack. Question. So when you were in Mexico, did you have any asthma attacks?
Oh,
there?
yeah, every day. I was sick probably 6 days out of the week.
Okay, so you were like actively
I was
ill.
sick all the time. So like I had to walk to school. And the day that I got to go to school, I had to walk there. That would cause an asthma attack.
Right.
So that would put me back in bed for the rest of the week until I was better.
Wow.
So when I got here, 1 asthma attack. Out of all the years that I've been here now, which is pretty much my entire life, never had one again.
So the diagnosis that the doctors in Mexico were giving you came to be true. Like you had to literally, like your physical body needed to have a support system, and that wasn't in Mexico, but it was here.
And I needed medical care, which the U.S. has it.
For sure.
Right? Compared to the medical care in Mexico, the U.S.'s medical care is amazing. So, so I got here as what is considered an unaccompanied child because they were not my parents. I came here to reunify with my mother, who was already here. So I identified with this population so much. So like when I found this posting online of what they were doing with the unaccompanied children program, I was like, this is literally me back when I first got here.
And this was like what, like right after you graduated?
No,
or
this
like
was maybe a year or 2 after I graduated. I'm going to say maybe this was back in 20, because even then I graduated late for the same reason. I was undocumented till a certain point, right? Because like I was telling you guys before, there are many laws that are gate kept. Yeah. Because everybody wants you to be documented in the U.S., but nobody wants to tell you how, right? So I didn't know of certain laws that I could apply for, or certain laws that I even qualified for. So once we found out, and in our community, in the Hispanic community, a lot of things that are found out is from word of mouth. From, so and so were able to get their papers. I'm like, oh my God, how? And then from there's like, oh, I qualify for that.
Is that because you were telling me a little bit before? Is that the siege? The SIDGE?
So it's
the
SIDGE.
Can you explain what SIDGE is?
Is Special Immigrant Juvenile Status. Don't remember exactly what the qualifying criteria are, except for a couple, which was stay in school, basically finish out high school, no family, meaning do not
get pregnant,
do not get married before a certain age. Obviously, certain states have different requirements in age. New Jersey at that point was you qualified for that law if you were 21 and under.
Oh,
really?
When I found out about this law,
oh man,
I was this close to turning 21.
Oh man.
So my attorney, my mother, and everything else, we had to move so fast.
Yeah.
right.
Because
of course.
as long as the application
is in before your birthday,
you were golden.
so even if you turned 21, it was okay because it was already in. That's such a nerve-wracking experience.
Exactly.
though.
And again, I've never wouldn't have known this if somebody that my mother knew didn't tell her, oh, guess what? So and so got their papers and they did it through this. I've never heard of it. And my mom was like, no.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
Me neither.
And it's because again,
do you feel like it's still being gatekept now?
Does it exist still?
so yeah, absolutely. So the program that I was working for, majority of the children who crossed into the United States qualified for this law.
Okay.
A lot of these kids that were crossing either to reunify with their parent, but they also were abandoned by one of the other parents. And that's the number one thing that I want to highlight about this law. You need to have either abuse, neglect, or abandonment from one parent or both.
Oh.
To qualify.
That's a criteria.
That is. Which is why it's called Special Immigrant Juvenile Status.
Right.
Look it up.
Right.
Because in my case, I was abandoned by my father. And
So
in
that
the eyes,
automatically
qualified me.
qualified you.
But it's not lengthy, but in my head it makes sense the way that they do it. You have to go through family court first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your parent has to, the parent or whoever is sponsoring you has to have full custody of yourself. So this again makes it 10 times harder when your other parent abandoned you. You have to still search out the other parent so they can denounce custody and give it to the other parent.
So a lot of unaccompanied minors actually don't qualify because they can't even access their parents, for example.
Right. But there's ways around it.
Wow.
There's ways around it. An attorney who really wants to help you will figure out a way.
Well, that's another thing, right?
Right?
Who
But
really
it
wants
also
to
comes
help
down to by the time that you get to your interview with immigration, obviously they will go through it. I mean, when I got to my interview for immigration, they asked me a bunch of questions that were already told to them, just had to repeat them and make sure the facts were facting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's that first. Family court is probably the hardest out of everything because you have to find the other parent or you have to show attempts of finding the other parent. There's going to be different not criteria, but there's going to be different circumstances for every child. A parent could have passed away.
Yeah, because the story is the same.
But then again, does that count as neglect, abuse, or abandonment?
Wow.
Right?
You have to really think about that.
And can an attorney figure out a way?
You have to really think about it. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's not easy. And the law itself now is very popular now because of the program. Right? So it's like these children that we're crossing, these children that are coming here for either refuge, for just survival, or to be reunified with their parent. There's still other laws, asylum. But SIDGE was definitely the most popular one because they either didn't have a parent or they didn't have either. And if they were reunifying with a family member, that family member can become the sponsor, but they have to prove where the parents are. And if the parents are deceased or abandoned, you just have to make an attempt to try and see if you can reach out to them. It's for them to denounce custody and give it to whoever is sponsoring you.
You know, it kind of makes me think like, obviously there's so much to what these laws and these policies are being put into place, and they're supposed to help us out. They're supposed to help the children out. They're supposed to help the families out. But they make it so hard to even just answer a question as easily as like you feel like you have to think twice. You have to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times before even opening your mouth. And you're asking kids as young as what?
I mean, I worked with children that were like 5 years old.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But, you know, how do I word this?
Or maybe, I mean, yeah.
So the hardest thing for these children to understand when they came to the United States was learning how to be a child.
Okay.
Because trying to acclimate children that are coming from a different country where at the age of 14, you're already considered an independent adult in your mind because you needed to provide for yourself in a third world country, and coming to the United States where you're expected to be a child and not having to work and not having to provide for yourself was the hardest thing for them to acclimate to. So explaining to them what the different immigration policies and different immigration laws that they qualify for doesn't really mean anything to them because they want to know how they're going to survive and how they're going to send money back home.
As young as what, 5?
Not 5 per se, because there are children there.
Sure.
But I'm talking about maybe perhaps 13 and up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the hardest thing to acclimate them to is...
And they're doing it in a different language.
Absolutely.
A lot of the times. Like,
yeah. But all they wanted to
alone.
do, and all they wanted to do was work. You know, because it's like they come from countries that are struggling financially. They come here to reunify with their parent if the parent is here, or they come here so that they can help provide for their family back home. So when they go through these programs, the program was designed or is designed to help children be connected to resources and avoid detention centers altogether. So they are released to a sponsor or a family member or whoever they vet, right? Because all of these sponsors are vetted. You're not just released to a random person. They're all vetted. Background checks, fingerprints, everything. They are released to them and they just want to get to work. They do not care about education. Some of them do. I don't want to say not all of them. But this is how they are conditioned to be. Right. When you're home at that age, you're already working. You're already working. You're already, if you're a male, you're already expected to provide for your family. You probably left the wife back there. A lot of the children that I would get, some of them were indigenous, some of them spoke a dialect, and some of them didn't have an education. So when you get here, by law you have to go to school. Certain states, you could stop going to school at the age of 16. Certain states, you have to keep going to school until you're 18.
So this like breeds a perfect ground for people. It's like opportunity and bad things, right? Because it's like these kids want to work. There's someone out there with a factory or whatever that's going to hire them, and they're under the table. So everything goes. It's like it never happened. But we have child labor here, and it's on the backs of the migrant kids, right? So it's like everything you're saying is like, oh, like this is a perfect like mixture for this to happen because they want to work. They don't think there's anything wrong with that. We have this American idea that children should wait till they're 18 or 16 and go to school. It's not just American. And now it's starting to get eroded with everything that's going on because that's what it feels like, you know. How are there's ICE agents going into schools, so all of a sudden these places that were safe don't feel safe anymore. And so it's like
The program was designed to make sure that these children were safe. Right. That the people that took them under their wing and is providing for them all types of basic necessities are doing just that. And part of my job was to make sure that they were doing that. That they weren't being forced to work. And if they were working, it was because they wanted to work and that
it was done legally.
Not even just, yes, legally, because by law, obviously without a work permit here, you should not be employed anywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Reality is different when you're an immigrant. Just what it is.
Yeah.
Teaching them financial literacy. So if you do have to work, because I cannot stop you because I only come to visit you every so often, I want to make sure that you are getting paid properly. If this is how many hours you worked, make sure this is how much money you're getting back. Wow. What are you using your money for? Oh, well, I'm buying myself clothes, this and that. But listen, your sponsor is supposed to be doing that for you.
Okay. So you in your experience, you worked with these children as young as what, 5 years old?
Yeah, 5 years old.
Up to like their teen, adolescent
So
years.
This program only serviced children that were 18 and under.
Okay.
Because that's the whole point, right? Making sure that when you're when you're coming into the United States, that the children aren't being held in the detention centers with adults. So this program is to separate them from that, allowing them to go back into the community, awaiting for a court date. So if not the biggest responsibility we had was finding them legal representation. That is number one, because they will eventually have a court date. And we needed to make sure that they had representation when it came time to go in front of the judge. And during that time, we either had to make sure that they qualify for SIDGE, did they qualify for asylum, what do they qualify for? If they don't qualify for anything, they at least need to show up to the first court date with an attorney. What would happen sometimes if they didn't qualify for anything? Sometimes they would just be like, okay, at immigration, be like, okay, thank you for showing up. And then they would be okay to go back into the community. From the little cases that I saw, however, the waiting list to get a court date was so long that I think I only got to see 1 or 2 children out of the time that I worked there go in front of a judge.
How long were you there for?
I think I did the work for about 2 years.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Some kids, you see, this program is great. I love this program. This program spoke to me so much, and the help that we would provide to those children was amazing. But there were so many seeking refuge, needing help, that the waiting list was so long. The money was a lot. How do you afford an attorney?
Yeah, everybody has to be pro bono, basically.
Everybody. And everybody needs to be pro bono. The list is insanely long. Insanely long.
But that's the whole thing, right? Like, let's give you guys this right. Let's give you guys this ability. But now let's fill it with red tape and all these million things so that let's never talk about it. I thought I knew about these things, and you're literally telling me something I've never heard of before. I mean, I came as an immigrant child too. Like, I mean, we had a different situation, so we didn't have to go through that route. But like, never heard of this. I don't even know if my mom has heard of this. And we were immigrants for a while. We didn't have any papers until, we got our citizenship. So it's like, it's crazy that like they put these things, they say, oh, well, we gave you the law. You have that right. Now let me give you 17 other, a bunch of different other things that are like, make it difficult for you to achieve that.
And
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
these
going to ask the next question.
applications to submit into immigration are expensive.
Yes,
Of course.
Okay, so it's not just about you need to
thousands
do
of
it the
dollars
right way.
easily.
Absolutely, we're all going to do it the right way, right? But facilitate it. Facilitate it a little bit.
Yes.
Like, help us help you in a way,
Yes.
because it's like, yes, we know what to do. Okay, now we have the law, but you need to have this much money in order to start the process.
And you're talking to either, let's say, for example, kids that aren't supposed to be working.
Right.
Who don't have an adult with them, only someone. It's like, exactly. So you kind of like tie everybody's hands behind their back and say, well, we put the laws there. You can figure it out. How? How?
So I guess this kind of leads to my next question, because we're already talking about it. So I feel like, how do you feel like these immigration policies and these systems affect children, adolescents differently than they affect adults that actually have to go through it? Is it because it's strictly their age restriction?
It's because children are helpless.
Okay. Wow. Talk about that.
Because you can't do anything without an adult. You can't do anything without an adult. An adult can go out there, bust their ass, work, save up the money like I did, because I was older when this happened.
Right.
I busted my
21,
behind to make sure that I accomplished what I needed to accomplish. These children, if they're not reunifying with a parent, and it's an aunt or uncle or even a distant family or distant friend or whoever it is that they may reunify with, they don't have the money to access any of this. They don't. And then they have to wait until they're older to do something about it. But by then, the help is done because they turned 18 and they're out of the system. So it's a bit more complicated for children, because if we don't help them, or if their sponsor, adult, does not help them, who helps them? And get the shit. Some of these sponsors were only 18 themselves, 20 themselves, 21 themselves.
No
It's like
way.
2 children helping 2 children.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, again, great. They avoided the detention center. Amazing. Great, because we have to give them the flowers wherever necessary.
Yeah.
But then they were released to a child that's now looking after a child. So it's like, choosers can't be beggars in a type of way. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it impacts them more than an adult, because an adult will find a way. But a child can't find a way without depending on an adult. And if the adult they're reunified with does not really have the desire to help them they won't help them. But if the child reunifies with an adult that really has the will to help them, they will make it through.
Okay, so now to me, what it sounds like now it's creating this feeling of resilience, right? Which what I've learned, I think these were conversations that we've had before, that resilience is a good thing because it can pick you back up from getting knocked over so many times. But sometimes it's not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tiring.
It's
Sometimes,
taxing on you.
Yeah,
on
you
you
do
as a-
so
your
much
psyche.
that you need to do. And these are children that we're talking about. And
This is like prime time for development.
It's
and
kind
you're
of
gonna,
like, yeah, it's
you're gonna
like
take
what-
every security,
how
safety
are they
net away from
coping?
them.
How you can't even begin to imagine what they must be feeling, what they must be doing. The only thing that you can probably guess is that they just have to go. They just have to do it. They have to go through it.
Another important thing to highlight here is that these kids did not see this program as helpful.
Okay.
Because we were getting in their way of their resilience. They're coming here to the United States to make a better life for themselves. And this program is limiting them because we want them to be children. We want them to comply with the law. We want them to not work because they're supposed to be in school. We're going to give you resources. We want to give you education. But their mentality is different. They came here to have the American dream, to make money to send back home. So we were getting in their way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
No, it does.
100%.
So it's like, and it's one of those things that if you're not an immigrant, you're not going to understand.
no, you
it.
make. I'm like, it makes perfect sense.
And
I
to
just didn't think about it before.
to
you know what I
anybody
mean?
else, it looks ungrateful. Because why aren't you complying with the program that is meant to help you? But you don't
Are you,
understand.
are you as an institution gonna feed me, clothe me, make sure that I have the things I need? No, right? So there's that.
100%. We were getting in the way of their dream,
Wow.
of their desires, of wanting to move forward. Because we wanted to go ahead and help them reach the American dream and just help them obtain health insurance, education, clothing. But when you are born and raised in a third world country, you become independent at a very young age.
Yeah.
So all the things that I'm offering you, you're like, I can do that myself.
Right.
Yeah.
At 14.
Right.
Or I don't need it. All I need to do is work so I can go ahead and provide for my family back home.
Wow. So I think I kind of want to talk a little bit about, I don't want to make this whole episode about what's happening now, right, with the current administration, because I think our stories are so much stronger than the stuff that is coming out. But I do want to mention it.
Yeah.
Sorry, the coffee. So I think if I want to ask you, what we see online, what we see every day, because it's always a new piece of information every single day, every single hour. We are being targeted, and when I say we, I mean like immigrant, not like our immigrant communities. Everyone who is not, who doesn't fit the criteria of what the American.
I mean, at this point, it's people
should
of
be.
color.
Yeah,
like it's
honestly.
not even Latinos only.
Profiling.
Yeah,
It's
it's heavy,
profiling.
and
It's
we
heavy
fought so
profiling.
long to stop that. Like the stop and frisk in New York, that was a huge thing.
Yes.
And we're going backwards so fast that it's hard to catch your breath. And then, oh my God, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
But sometimes, so I work as a nurse in a hospital when with older folks. They all watch Fox News because they're older or whatever, and just to hear the rhetoric coming from these shows that make everyone seem like the bad guy except them. How like constantly like we're ungrateful, we're un-American for standing up for the immigrants, and you're like, no, like actually it's American, it's an American belief to believe that we all have the right to due process, we all have the right, like all these things, right, that they're literally stripping away just because racial profiling or blah 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 blah, right? Like it's happening so quickly. And I don't know, what was your question?
I think it's like the jarring things that come to mind is one of the most recent ones where anybody who fits the criteria of speaking with an accent, working in environments that are either factory setting or where it's easy to sort of target Latinos, and who are of like a little bit darker skin color. Like when I read that for the first time, I thought it was a fever dream. I thought I was like, what this? Okay, so this happened. All right, this happened. And I started to think about, obviously, like not only your community, but like your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin. And it's like, okay, well, it got to the point where I started to be really concerned for the first time ever for my family. Even though they've been here for so long, even though they came here in a way that
Legal.
that you're supposed to, right? And they just, for the first time, I asked my father, "Do you have your passport?" I've never asked that.
I know.
Right? Do you have a passport? Like, are you good? Like, I just want to make sure, because he was a plant manager for exactly what it is, like for a printing for a factory company. So it's like, and I know so many other men and women who are employed in these environments. So it's just became such like easy targets. And I'm not saying that this has been going on since before. Like you just know it because we're living in this age, so we see it.
You know what we've become? The Latinos have become the deer population in the United States. What do I mean by that? The deer population has grown so much that what do they have now? Open hunting seasons on deer to control the population.
What an analogy. Wow.
And it feels like that. It feels like there's too many of us now. And now there's one person who has decided that we must control how many of us there are. So therefore, open season on all of us.
I don't know if you know who Stephen Miller is. He's like pretty high up there with Trump and everything. And he's he's problematic to say it nicely. And like he's been known to say things like America's population should be a couple 100 million. What does that mean?
Right. And who gets to partake in that 100 million?
Exactly.
Who makes the cut on that one?
What's the criteria for that one?
The right hand of the president, who's saying these things publicly, who said even worse things about like the wars in the Middle East, who genuinely, I'm like, this person does not give value to most people in the world. Like that's what that is. That's what that means.
To your point about asking your father if he had his passport, the children that I used to work with when the president came back the second time around, when he won elections again, we started providing these families with all of this information on what to do if ICE came to your home.
Okay. Yep.
And we started, in a way, conditioning these children to carry certain documentations with them in case they were stopped. Right? In case they were questioned. Here's my document that says that I entered. I am in process of my immigration hearings, and this is the person that I'm residing with. And it was a piece of paper, blue paper, with child's picture on it, current address that they were released to, and the name of the person they were released to. We started telling them, carry this with you everywhere you go.
As if your life depended on it.
In a way, because it
Pretty
did.
much,
because if they got detained or whatever the case may have been, we didn't know. That's the whole point. They're children, and we all think, oh, but the children will be released. Okay, yeah, but we don't know that. We don't know that because nothing is being done lawfully anymore.
Nope. No,
It's
like
not.
you said, it's
like,
open season.
Right. So we had to train all these kids. Like, this is what you need to carry. This is what you need to say. And this is what you don't say. Matter of fact, don't say anything.
Right.
Right. So
when
it's
does
like,
it get to the point where you just don't say
and
anything?
they're children, but it's like, also remember, these children are not always reunified with the parent.
Sure.
Remember that. And I say remember that because they are literally alone. If it's not
so
reunification
alone,
with their parent, they are alone.
Like
And
we're having this
sometimes-
conversation right now, and there's kids out there that
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. If I wasn't reunified with my mother when I first came here, I don't know what the heck would be of my life.
Right.
I don't know where I would be. I always say this to my partner. Was like, I have no idea what my life would be like. I probably would have been dead because I was so sickly.
That's right.
Or I wouldn't have been able to have the freedom to just be exactly who I am.
Right.
right? My life would have been so much different. I am thankful. I am always very thankful to this country for what it's been able to provide for me, but I'm also very sad by the things that it has taken away from me.
Lately, I've been feeling the sadness of like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. It's like it's not about being pro-American or pro anything. You know, there's a lot of things that this country has given to people like you, people like me. You know, our immigrants' families. We have grown above our means that we thought we couldn't do in our countries. You know, like there's so much that has been given to us because of this country.
Yeah. But what changed? What changed in the American people that we can no longer coexist? What changed that made them all so hateful? What changed? Because in one point in time, we were all able to cohabitate in the same country with the same dream, with the same purpose.
Yeah.
And now we can't, because now you're like, well, if you don't like it, go back to where you came from. Just as easy as that.
I don't ever want to give power to one person, especially for a person that I personally think is just but I think that I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened. It's such a high influence, and it's there is power. There's power to word. Okay, there's power to word. I do believe in that, and I think it only takes that one person to sort of just
in everything.
But that person was planted there, not like the elections. No, like this has been in the works for the last 20 years, and so the truth,
it's just a ripple effect.
No, it's like like for example, let's take Project 2025. The president of the United States said he literally had nothing to do with it before he got elected. A few days ago, he tweeted, "Oh, we're on the final steps of Project 2025." Project 2025 is run by huge corporations and foundations that put a lot of money into the election race, towards lobbying, so to say that it's just Trump is like, sorry, I'm just gonna say it. Is like saying that there isn't a gigantic machine in motion that has been leaning towards this for the last couple decades.
He's just the face.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. Just the face.
That's why they took an actor, a presenter, a realtor.
He's just the face. Yes. And I've never been one for conspiracy theories because it's not. But it feels like we're living in a
100%.
Big one.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally.
In a big one. And I'm just like, to the point where earlier we were talking and I said I became so desensitized to everything that's happening because it's getting to be too much for my little brain to handle. So where you brought up a video before where before maybe 6 months ago I would have been able to be like, yeah, I saw that.
So why don't we so we showed a video.
We can play it so you guys can hear it.
Can they hear it? Supersonic hearing.
It was on TikTok, right?
Yeah. And it was just I think it was a young girl. She was talking to her brother.
Right. And before we play it, I know that it's a video from TikTok. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, well, that's TikTok. It's social media. But I want you to understand that, yes, it is TikTok, but it is lived experiences from real people.
Exactly.
This is not a matter of fact checking anyone. It is a matter for you to understand what people are really living and going through and what they're experiencing. It's not for people to question whether it's okay, well, you got that information from TikTok. Yeah, from a lived experience that you probably will never live.
Yeah.
Or experience.
And that's why we have social media. And that's why they're fighting so hard to make it like difficult for you to post whatever you want, because this kind of, while they're very strong in their policies and everything, and they seem to be taking over everything, every right that we thought we had, like we were taking for granted, social media in a way kind of got under them, right? And got the story out, even though they didn't want it to get out. They want their version. And oh my God, you just sit down for 10 minutes listening to Jesse Waters on Fox, and you will have a completely different version of the world that the one that we're talking about does not exist to them. And it doesn't exist for millions and millions of viewers in America. And so to realize that you're like basically like invisible to a huge population of America is crazy, right? And so like, it's important. Social media in a way is important. It's unfair to call it like, oh, it's not a real source anymore, because at this point those are first sources. Those are like more source than the news channel telling you the story about it. Actually watching a video of someone living it is a first source, right? And so like, you know, I think it's a great way to see the truth.
Yep.
But it's getting harder to tell the truth lately, because they're starting to like rein it in.
The way that we intake information has escalated rapidly, and it's in a way, like we were just saying, you literally just said before we started that the way that you're retaining the information, for some reason you're holding on to it, you're grabbing it. But for me, it's a little hard for me to retain that information. I don't know if it's because there's a piece of news coming out every second of every day. And sometimes I do want to like clock out, but I sometimes I can't, right? So like, how do where did this line become so blurred that on social media, where you're right, it's like you get that piece of information, it's almost like there's an emotional attachment to it, because it's like whatever you feel or you believe in, that certain post from that direct source, from where they are in the front lines in Gaza, or in what's happening in the communities where ICE is breaking down your doors, it's like you believe that, right? Because that's your personal belief. So you attach yourself to that piece of information versus like whatever else you deem as like, that's fake news for me. Like that's performative for me. So even then it's hard. It's not even hard. I would say it's become clearer to distinguish because you're going back to what your personal beliefs are in the first place. So I don't know where I was going this. I think I was just picking back off of what you were saying now.
Do you want to like, here, let's play it, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
Let's play the clip, and then I want to talk about, you know, how you felt the need that you needed to get out of social media. Because my question to you would be like, how do you still stay connected to it? Okay, so we can play it.
It was crazy. It felt like a fever dream. It felt like it didn't happen. I was like going to put away my computer, and I looked through a window. There's 3 black trucks. Like, the windows are all tinted.
Yeah.
And then there's Garcia. Like, they're going back in.
And because Garcia was already in dismissal. Yeah.
And after that, I hear on the like announcements, like we're in a soft lockdown. I didn't think much of the trucks. I thought there was just a fight in Garcia and they had a gun or a knife.
But like, what were the kids saying?
They were crying because they either didn't have papers, or their
kids, like in your classroom.
The kids, or their parents or grandparents that had papers. So like when we were going out, like they were telling us like, if your parents don't want you to go out, just stay here. And
But like, how are kids getting picked up? Because like a lot of kids, their parents don't have papers, and ICE was there.
I took some kids in my class, like their parents don't have papers, or either they don't have papers.
Wait, they came with you? Like,
yeah, my mom picked them up and drove them to their house.
That's good. But like, so the school was allowing any parent to take kids?
Yeah.
Okay. They pinpoint weaknesses. They're picking up adults. Who's picking up the kids? Somebody's got to show up for those kids at the school, right?
Yeah.
So again, a lot of
also, this was in Chicago about like 2 days ago, or a day ago, actually. It just happened.
And again, this brings a sense of community, right? So like the parents who did have documentation, who did have IDs, coming together to, don't worry about it. You don't have to come pick up your child. I'll get them for you. I'll drop them off to your home.
So that's where the collectiveness is coming in too.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about this earlier too, about the division. Can you just repeat what you said? Because that was really good. Like we talked about how
there's division in movements, but there's also division between different groups, being like, you weren't here, but I was there at that time, and whatnot.
And when do we show up?
This is the opposite of that, right? Like, for example, like
absolutely.
in real time.
So I think obviously, you know, I don't really know how to define this or how to explain this to you other than convenience. right now it's not convenient for you. It's not affecting your community.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like somebody said, I'm going to the grocery store. What would you guys like? Ignoring the whole movement of what's going on. But you want us to come through for you. And it's that kind of mentality that's going to keep dividing us. Right? And it's right now. Anybody who has a sense of empathy, of knowing the difference between right and wrong, those are the people coming together to just try and get those kids to go home to their parents rather than have the parents come. They get picked up. And then what happens to the children?
It's just like, at what point, like, where is the line, right? Because they've gone to hospitals, they're going to schools, they're threatening to take the kids at this point, like kids that might be in the middle of legal processes.
Kids, and this is the way that they sell it. That gets the other side going.
Okay.
These are kids who missed their first court hearing. Oh, so then yeah, I don't see why they can't get picked up. They knew they had to show up, so why didn't they?
Yeah, but then also they're taking the kids from the court hearings too. So it's like all of it.
Thank you. And then again, and this is not even just a problem of immigrants. This is a problem of the entire government. There's not enough resources. So you want this child to show up to their court hearing. They're going to be taken. They show up with representation. They might still be taken. Happened to my mother. She showed up to a court hearing. She thought she was showing up for a traffic ticket. She got picked up and taken.
That's so scary.
Right? So it's like, again, safe haven states are still being infiltrated by the people they're not supposed to be infiltrated by.
That's what I'm saying. There's no line right now.
There isn't. There isn't a line, because right now the only line that is being respected is what's legal and what's not. And again, something that I read, fact check me later, is the fact that this is a immigration topic. Coming in undocumented is not a crime. It's not a criminal crime, and it's not a federal crime, and it's an immigration policy violation. So the way that these people are being treated is as if they're criminals, if they're like the worst of the worst situation, but it's not.
That's what they say when they're doing, like, their press secretary is on, like, Carolyn Levitt or whatever, and she's like, these are all criminals, and she shows pictures of 5 or 6 who are actual criminals. But I'm like, but you took a couple thousand the last few months. What about all of those that weren't actually criminals, right? But they're so good at just like
evading the question,
evading and directing towards whatever they want. There's no such thing as the, like, it's honestly, it's so rough to watch.
The picture has been painted.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's no empathy.
There is no empathy, and it stops becoming political.
Yes.
It's now, you're wrong and you know that. But you're still going to continue to do it.
Literally.
It's inhumane. It's inhumane, but you're too far deep in now, and you have gotten that other political side riled up that if you don't see this through, they're going to turn on you because you already started this. You already painted the picture, and now they're expecting you to go ahead and meet whatever goals of this project, whatever going on. So if you don't do that, you're letting your people down. But yet you have the other side of the country falling apart.
And there's not even talking about from that side, there's not even empathy coming from there. It's just power. It's just like they're leading this, whatever cause that they're leading, with so much power and hatred, honestly. So there's not even empathy for their own people and their own community.
There's not, because think about like let's think about like the floods, what was it, in Tennessee or Kentucky? And then a few months later, Trump's like, if you don't agree, I know they don't correlate, but let's just put the picture together. Let's say that crazy thing that happened over there happened here in New Jersey, which is an asylum.
It's a safe haven.
A safe haven state, right? Trump is saying that if something like that happens in a safe haven state, they can withdraw funding for disaster relief. A whole town disappeared because of flooding. Are you telling me that if our state, like New Jersey, for example, stands up to for some immigrant kids that deserve due process, that if something like Sandy happens again, we're all screwed?
Because we're
How
safe haven.
crazy is that?
And we did not fold to what he wanted.
But
It's a way of keeping control.
I know,
and
and
power.
I think people should be like screaming at the walls. I think our governors and our mayors should be like, how dare you? But they won't. They're not. Everything is kind of like, oh, it's not gonna happen.
To bring this back to the children.
Yeah.
The funding that we were having or that we have for this program for children, it was withheld because we were not, I guess, in a way complying to what they wanted.
Yeah, that's the word.
Help for trans children? No. Pronouns and emails from employees? Gone. And we had meetings, and it's like, the person who was in charge of leading this entire program folded. But I understand why you folded, because there's a bigger picture.
Do you lose everything?
Either do you lose everything, or do you fold to secure the funding? My hat's off to that man, because he stood his ground and he says this is wrong. But we have to do it because there is something much bigger than me holding on to my values and my beliefs and leaving all these children stranded.
Right.
But at the same time, it still keeps paving way for all of the oppression, for all of the power hungriness.
Always.
But if you don't, you lose everything else.
It's like they keep taking agency away from these different groups, right?
Little
The
by
children,
little.
the immigrants, LGBT community. I don't know how many
To-
other groups.
to the
Disabled
point-
people.
Right,
Like,
to the point where they're like, you could help the trans kids, the LGBTQ plus community.
But you can't say they are?
But you can't document it. Because they will audit. They will see what you did, who you helped, what you did, to what extent.
it's like, does their life not count? Is that what
That's
you're
exactly
telling me?
that's exactly what they're
And
saying.
literally every
That's
time
exactly what they're saying.
all of these policies are a dehumanization of different groups, and it's like, bro, we've seen this before. Why are we
It's
repeating
like
it?
when we were saying that with the whole division, that they're doing whatever they want, right? They're doing whatever they want to these groups. They're putting all these legal jargon, all these legal words that we really don't care at this point anymore. But we're also responding in our own way, right? Like, okay, so you're doing what you want to do, then we're going to do what we need to do.
It got to the point where we lost half of our staff was let go because the funding wasn't coming in.
Oh, wow.
The funding wasn't coming in. It was to the point where, the way that grants work, right? The agency fronts the money and the federal grant reimburses you. So they got to the point where they can no longer pay us, or they can no longer let us know if we're going to get paid or if this program's going to still keep running.
Wow.
So we lost half of the staff. We ended up learning additional things about what information is getting shared with certain agencies. And then it started putting me in a tough spot because I'm like,
I'm handing over.
right. So I was
kids,
just like,
basically.
I still need to make a living, right?
Yeah.
I still need to
Yeah.
I still need to have a paycheck.
Yep.
I love what I do. And I tell my partner this all the time. That job for me was a dream job.
Wow.
It checked off all my boxes of things that I wanted to do with my life. And when this happened, it lost that. Because I was working for the other party now,
Yeah.
right? So I said, I still need a paycheck, but I still need to stand true with what I believe in. What do I do? Then I said, well, hell, I don't even know if I'm going to get paid next week. So what the hell does it matter? Clearly, I'm not there for the money anymore because I don't know if I'm getting paid. So now it comes down to the point where it's like, I can't stand here and tell you that you need to do this program when it's clearly voluntary, but it needs to be sold otherwise. I can't tell you what your information or who your information is going to.
Right.
So I said, I gotta go. Took a job somewhere else. I was completely miserable. Hated it. Worst experience of my life.
Part of the journey.
Worst experience of my life. But, and then that's when the the distance came between me and the doom scrolling. Because
Yeah, talk
every
about that.
single time I would scroll, I would see new things happening with the immigrant population, with the children I was working with. And I got to a point where it's like, I'm enraged, I'm frustrated, and I'm mentally drained. And there's absolutely nothing that I can do. Because I can't. The little bit that I was contributing through this program is no more. Because anything that I contribute to this program is now taken and used for other purposes.
Yeah.
So I needed to take a step back, and not because I stopped caring and I stopped advocating, but because I needed to put my mental health first in order to get myself together and continue to advocate for this population, because the way that I was used to advocating was no more.
Even that changes, huh?
The process that I was taking to advocate for these families was educating them. This job allowed me to educate the community. But I can no longer educate them anymore. I can no longer advocate for them anymore because I was hiding certain truths from them. So I couldn't advocate. That was my way of advocating, right? So a lot of people say, okay, when you post on social media, you're just posting, but what really are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What I was doing, my application was through this job. Educating families on the different types of immigration laws that these kids will qualify through.
Would you say there is anything else in place, a program like it that exists right now? That is there something there?
No, absolutely not. This program's still standing. I want you guys to know that.
Right. Yes.
Funding, determination of funding is still underway because federal grants are, if I'm not mistaken, valid for 2 years. I believe that this grant year is almost coming to an end. And I think they've reapplied to see if they are going to still get funding.
Okay.
How much funding they get is the question. If it does get renewed, I don't know. It's probably going to get cut down because of whatever. 2 years ago, the funding was granted and it was a lot of money. But again, this is before the new president. I don't know what the future of this program is going to be like, but I don't believe that there is anything like this program right now, helping immigrant children. I think that this program was, and I still think it's an amazing program.
Yeah.
It's an amazing program because when I first came to this country, I did not have that guidance that these children have now. My mother did not have the guidance that these parents have now.
Yeah.
They didn't. And this, I'm not exactly sure exactly how old SIDGE is, or but I do know that not a lot of people knew about it until this program came around. That's when everybody started talking about it.
Do you feel like, because I guess it depends on how much the money goes into this grant when they reapply, and that obviously determines like what you can and you can't do within the program itself. Do you feel like with things that are happening now and with a lot of the fundings that are being cut and being directly hit, especially to this program that you were a part of before, because we live in this country and we run on money, essentially. So this program, do you feel like it's going to change a lot?
I don't know that it's going to change a lot because here's the thing. This program did not hand out money. This program did not hand out resources. What this program did is it equipped its employees to be able to find these resources depending on the state where they lived. Because not every state is the same. So it's not like anybody who is on the opposite side that we are is going to be like, oh, well, they're getting handouts. They're not. Because it's not like we're saying, here's this much for you to go ahead and get a house. Here's this much for you to get food. We're not doing that. Okay. We're pointing them to the right direction of saying, here is what you need to do in order to apply for health insurance. They don't qualify for public benefits. Mind you, there's certain things to not get into. It gets tricky, right? So like children that would come are victims of human trafficking. There's certain benefits to them that they qualify for. And mind you, they don't qualify for free. These children went through hell. So the least that we could do is give them resources so that they can get better. Being trafficked is not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so for you to be like, okay, well, you're just mooching off the United States. I was like, but do you understand that this child was just a sex slave and had to do many sexual favors to different type of people in order to just survive?
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that you don't want to go ahead and provide them with a $100 stipend so that they can go ahead and get whatever mental health assistance that they need.
Just fathoms me that experience qualifies as
that's something that I
criteria.
want to highlight, that it's important for me for everybody to know that this program did not hand out money or anything free. We connected them to resources.
Yeah.
And once we connected them to resources, we said, okay, this is how much you will need in order to get this done. So they had to work their asses off to make sure that they're able to afford whatever it is that we were able to connect them with. And with that comes attorneys. Anybody who qualified for pro bono attorneys was lucky. And those who didn't qualify, they needed to save up thousands of dollars in order to start the process.
Wait, so no, everybody doesn't qualify for pro bono?
Not everyone qualifies for pro
I thought
bono.
if you just found someone pro bono, then you can just have them take care of your case.
No. So think of it this way, right? By the time that your name is called on the pro bono list, your court date is coming. It's around the corner. You don't have the luxury to wait on that list. You don't have the luxury to wait on that list.
There's no time.
There's no time. Or you could be, let's say, you could be fortunate enough that your parents are already documented here.
Yeah.
And they're working and they're making money on the books, and then they go ahead and they put you on the sliding scale. You make too much. And to them, making too much is probably just enough to survive.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very tricky, but I think it's so important for people to understand that this program does not hand out anything for free.
Right.
So when they say that, you know, we are making it easier for them and we're taking resources from Americans, it's not true.
Well, yeah,
This program is simply designed to make sure that the children are safe
education, it's a
after
resource.
reunification, and to make sure that they are acclimating well to a new country. That is the purpose of this program. That is it, to ensure the safety of the children once reunified, to prevent trafficking, to prevent child labor, to prevent all of that. That is what this program was designed for, and this is why I love the program as much as I still do. It's sketchy nowadays, yes, but the
It's
bigger
still
picture,
serving the
but the
purpose,
bigger
yeah.
picture is that we're supposed to make sure that these children stay safe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
When I came, and I told you guys, 2 strangers, didn't know them. Many things could have happened to me.
Right.
Many things happened to these children at the borders,
Yeah. That's true.
right? So it's not, they don't come here just to mooch off the United States, because if that is what they came here to do, and if they knew what would happen to them throughout their whole journey, children from South America, how many borders do they have to cross? Children from Africa, children from Asia. What did they have to endure in order to get here with the sole purpose of just mooching off the United States? Do you think anyone in their right mind is going to want to go ahead and do that
No.
just so that they can come and mooch off a country? No.
No.
You think a parent is going to want to put their
No,
child
they're
through
fighting
that?
for their lives. They're
Right.
literally fighting for their lives. This
Absolutely.
is like their lifeboat,
Absolutely.
you know, and that millions of Americans don't realize that and see that as like it's an honor to be able to provide people who are poor and desperate and alone, children. It's an honor to be able to provide that for people.
It is. It is an honor to know that your country can provide that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, I'm getting sad. This whole American thing that, like, you know, we can talk all we want and there's things that I don't like or whatever, but there was always this idea that we were some sort of, maybe it was fake, maybe it was never real, okay? But like we still had it, and you know, it's getting all like ripped away. I do wonder though, since you've been in this with this program and working, and you were yourself an unaccompanied minor, did you ever see kids get lost in the shuffle, like even though they were already in the program and
Yes
getting
and,
help?
Yes and no. I do think the vetting needed to be a little bit different. How? No idea. Because because there's different parts to this program, okay? So I was what's considered post-release services. So after these children were discharged or released from these facilities that they were placed in when coming into the U.S., we made sure that we maintained their safety and monitored their safety with the person they were released to. But the vetting happened when they were in those facilities.
Okay.
Those facilities were the ones to vet the sponsors, to gather all information, to be able to prove relationship. There's not one perfect program.
It's not direct. It's not
That
consistent.
No. There's no such thing as being perfect. In every program and anything out there, any grant out there, it's going to have imperfections, right? So I cannot hold them to maybe perhaps releasing a child to someone that wasn't entirely safe, because our people find ways around everything. And in order to have their family member released, they will provide what they need to provide.
Yeah.
Whether that child decides to stay living with that person they were originally... My stomach's growling. I'm so sorry.
We can't hear that. That's okay.
But whether that child decides to stay living with them, it's up to that child. Mm-hmm. So it's not that they were lost in translation. It's not that we go ahead and we left them behind. It's just that, again, remember, the mentality that these children come with is far different that the American dream is trying to provide for them. America's trying to protect children because we have very heavy laws protecting children. Are they always the greatest? Probably not. But again, there's nothing ever perfect. But if you come with good intentions, you do your best.
You know, it's so interesting because right before this, I was doing a little tiny research. And apparently, I think it's right here. So the United States is one of the 2 countries that's part of the UN, along with Somalia, that has not ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. So that means that most countries, while they hold one thing and they do and they say that there's these laws and then there's ability, but then they go on the UN and they're one of the 2 countries in all of the countries in the UN that say we're not going to codify these rights for children because, there might be some issues with sovereignty or parental rights or family values. It's like there's always this thing where they say they're doing one thing, there's laws for it, but then there's another bigger law, maybe not bigger, but there's also another law that says, well, actually we don't fully support the rights of migrant children.
Mm-hmm. But you just said it yourself, there's a difference between an American child and a migrant child. Yeah. Right? So it's like I feel like
there shouldn't be,
but it's so unfortunate that it is that way, because they rather protect the American child before they protect the immigrant child, rather than seeing it as they're just children, period. It is what it is. And that's the whole problem that this program has faced and the backlash that they have received. It's like, okay, but they're taking away from my American child.
Like, no, you're not.
But they're not. You have the same ability to access those resources like the immigrant children. Sure. They lack the education, which is why we're there to help them. You lack the education because you want to lack the education. You are from here. This is your country. This is where you're from. Look it up. Yeah. If you're not as educated as you should be, that is your problem. These children are coming in fresh. We are helping them acclimate to a country so that they know how to defend themselves in this country when they are of age. Yeah. You live here. You have the autonomy to go ahead and do all those things, but you choose not to because you are expecting somebody to come and hand them to you.
You know,
what a keen difference. 100%. What a keen difference.
So it's like those resources that these children are accessing are available to you as well. But if you're choosing to not, whether it be because of pride, whether it be because of lack of education, sounds like a you issue. Yeah. That's really what it is. I always say this all the time. I say it all the time. The resources have been out there. They are out there. Figure out how to access them. Yeah. And you and the migrant child can both receive the resources.
There's actually enough for everybody.
Like there is.
There is. And this idea that is part of the fear game that we're all playing into. It's like, well,
they're telling us that there's not.
There's, Mark Zuckerberg was like, there's going to be a couple $1 billion lost in the AI race. Meanwhile, there's people starving. There's people with no health care. There's people that are losing. It's just like there's money for everything. There's resources for everyone. In feeding one or cutting your sandwich in half to give it to the other person, it is not making you lose anything. You know what I mean? It's just like there's this idea of like,
God, American
individualism, right?
Or who deserves it more?
When did we get to this point, though? Like, when did we get to this point?
It's always been like that.
Yes,
but it has now been put in the forefront because of who is in administration right now. Yes. That's what they have gained courage.
Like I said, it's a ripple effect. It's giving those like automatic brain messages to the rest of the people who think like him, who think like them, who just are feeding. They're feeding off of it.
They're like destroying.
They're feeding off of it willingly.
There was an interview. There wasn't an interview. I'm not really sure what it was, to be honest with you. But I think it was in Congress. They were interviewing whoever at the time was the director of the Department of Human Services. The grant that I used to work for is under the Department of Human Services.
Okay.
There were thousands of children lost.
Talk about it.
It's easy to hear that, but unless you're working in there, they're not lost. They don't want to be found because they're being persecuted. Do you understand that?
I've never heard someone say that.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand it.
And with that, it doesn't mean that the grant is not working. It means that the children we are servicing, it's true because human trafficking is very much true.
prevalent.
It's happening. And I'm not saying that these children aren't going through it and that they still don't have a sense of responsibility. They do. They have a responsibility to these children. But the other side of the coin is these children come here with the mentality that they want to work and provide for their family.
Right.
And again, they feel like this program is in their way of that. So what do? We vet the sponsor. We do our very best to make sure that this is a decent human being that is going to take care of this child. But by the time that services go into place, that we go and follow up with that family, the child is long gone. They decided they wanted to move to a different state because you know what?
They could work.
They could work.
Going back to what they originally wanted to
what
do
they
in the first
want.
place.
There's an objective. Their
Excuse
objective
me.
is to make money. That's
So
what they come
again,
here for.
yes, perhaps a certain number of those children have been lost to human trafficking. Absolutely. I'm not denying that because it is true. But the other half does not want to be found. Because right now they're being persecuted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think these children are going to stick around
And wait for their
and wait to be
their
picked up
court
at
hearing
school?
and their because now that's what
Where
they
they
do.
already know, okay, well, if I go to my court hearing, there's a 99.9% chance I'm
So
gonna be
there's
gone.
always, I've always said this, there's never a black and white. There's always a gray
especially
area.
with this.
definitely.
There's always a gray area.
Definitely.
The government is not always wrong. It's the people that give it a very different meaning and they carry it through, and then the government has to meet them where they are. If not, it'll be an uprising. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does.
So it's like all the racism that has come out ever since he's been in administration. It's always been there, but now Now they're
his
loud and proud
entry
about
was
it.
like Latinos are rapists and murderers, and then there's still Latinos for Trump, and I can't. It's like, and then what their thing is like, they'll be like, well, he's real, you know. He just tells it like it is. I'm like, where's the decorum? Where's the like?
Right. But it's like, so then I counter with that. Okay, so you're meaning to tell me that you were waiting for someone like him for you to tell me exactly how you felt.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Where was this
right,
this
because-
mindset before?
Absolutely, because in the time that I've known you, let's say, whatever. In the time that I've known you, you've never voiced anything like this to me. So now that somebody here of power, of authority is giving you the green light, you're going to go ahead and voice that to me.
So are you just easily influenced for this moment of time,
Or
have you been feeling this way like for a long time?
Correct. And this whole time that I'm sharing my story with you, you're thinking that in your head. And now that somebody's here to give you the courage to go ahead and speak up,
It's real, man.
it's real.
The mask is off, bro. It's like
Oh,
all the way off.
I've seen masks are off completely.
Even with like, there was a minute where like the Venezuelans were coming in, and there was a lot of them coming from, and like everybody was like, oh, they're giving them the hotels and this and that. Well, actually, they were like made to stay in the hotels. They weren't like it wasn't just like, oh, they were living at the Sheraton and getting 3 meals a day and going out whenever they could. I think some of them couldn't even leave.
So I did get the opportunity to work with Venezuelans before I left my position. Okay. How do I say this?
Say it, girl.
Just say it.
It's not like they were living in 5-star hotels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that you feel envious of somebody that's living in a shelter
Because
when you live in a home, or you're making ends meet, or whatever the case is. You speak the language. You can go ahead out there and find yourself a nice little job. You're comparing yourself to somebody who has less than that. And you don't feel one little bit of shame?
And still, we were losing nothing. No one, not one Latino that was talking crap about the Venezuelans in the hotels lost a meal, a paycheck, a single rate.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. I was still able to go out and work, and I still ate. Was it hard? Absolutely. But it's hard for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not envious of the person coming in here to seek refuge. I'm not envious of that. Why am I going to be envious of that?
At this point, you can't pick and choose. Like it's just,
It's like, come on now, they're fighting for their lives. They're coming here. I bet you 100%. If these people didn't have to leave their country, they wouldn't.
yes.
You think they want to be here? It's like, okay, well then maybe they should go back. Okay, but understand that they're fighting for their lives.
Yeah,
Just
like,
understand that.
Who wants to come and become a second-rate citizen? Like, because that's what we all encounter when we come into a different country, when we don't speak their language, or we don't know the way that things work or whatever. Like, we're literally treated like a second-class citizen, right? Until we can assimilate.
You cannot compare your suffering to not being able to find a job and to not being able to afford groceries to that of having to escape a war.
Right.
And having
Absolutely
lost
not.
your entire family.
Absolutely.
Not for 1
not.
second.
You cannot compare your suffering to that of somebody escaping that.
And that doesn't take away anything from your suffering here. Like, do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what people, it's like this game of like who suffered the most. No, in your bubble, that might have been the worst day of your life. And that's what it is. There is somebody else in a different bubble that's having a worser day. That doesn't mean that your day is any less, right? It's like this kind of weird thing. Like,
Okay, so how can we help each other out then?
Okay,
Like,
that's
are we
the real question, right? Like,
are we
what
just,
do we do?
I mean, I think
Doom and
we're
gloom.
helping each other out right now. I think the conversations need to just keep rolling in. They just need to keep happening because there's all the things that you have told
You have
us.
so much knowledge
It's
in
so
your
much
head.
knowledge and information that we didn't know.
Oh my God,
know,
I've
like, we
learned
knew-
so many
we
things
knew,
just
like,
talking to you just
pieces
now.
when
And
we-
I thought I was well acquainted with all of this. You know what I mean?
But that's okay. That's okay. Like I want to point out and be clear that not all of us have to have the answer. That's not the point. That's not the point. You think that these migrant children that came here have all the answers? No, they came here with an objective or several objectives
To survive.
to survive.
money.
Right. And I think it's like, what is it that we need to do? All right, we're having these conversations. It's great. We're sharing
how do
this
we prove it?
platform. Like, we're out there, whether that's out there physically, or we're inside, because sometimes we have to remember that, activists they come differently. You can, if you're physically able to do it, then you're out there. If you cannot be physically able to do it, then that doesn't mean that you're not fighting from the inside either. So what is it that we need to start doing to sort of uplift a little bit more of that collectiveness that we need to be on 100?
Here's
bro.
a funnier
Like,
question. If you
seriously.
had an unlimited budget and access to a list of every migrant child, is there a reality where you could put something in place where it's like let's just dream. Like okay, let's just say you have an unlimited budget. What would you do?
If I was the one funding this program,
Yeah.
it would just be the well-being of the children. It would be less of acclimate to the American way of thinking
Yeah.
and more how can we get you to the American way of thinking.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's gone though? That American way of thinking? Do you
No.
feel
No,
like
I don't think it's gone because again, like
or it's different? It's just shifting.
Again, because like you were mentioning before, you should be proud that your country can provide the refuge that these people are so desperately seeking. So I think that instead of fighting against these children and saying like you have to adapt because this is where you are now, I think we will teach you what it's like to be a child. We will teach you what it's like to be the child. You don't have to work. You don't have to go ahead and refuse education, or we will provide you with all the simple necessities. But in turn, you need to just learn to be a child. And that's a fantasy because it's not easy. Because you can't tell these children to stop
You're
sending money
literally
back.
rewiring their brain because that's how
Right.
they grew up. Then they came here and were dealt the hardest card.
But it's not. I think that my desire will be more so to help nurture rather than help the political
Assimilate.
means.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's what basically
I'm
happened
not
with your organization.
I'm not good at helping you politically. I understand the laws that you need to follow, but I also understand your fight. So I will nurture you. I will help you. I will feed you. I will give you clothes. I will figure everything out for you. And hopefully that's enough.
Well, because at the end of the day, that is more than enough. That's all you. That's what you really need.
So-
Because I can't tell you not to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
But you might not need
Yeah.
it.
Right, it's like I'm going to tell you.
Right.
But you do what you must.
But if you hand them all the resources, they might be like, well, I don't have to work because I have a home, I have food, I have shelter. How do you reprogram them into thinking maybe you don't have to send all your money to the other country? That's not that simple.
can't, but that's what-
because
but
they're
that's what
trying to
I'm-
help, right? It's not just about like they're
But
giving away
it's
their
a
money.
fine line between allowing them to continue to be the little independent adult that they have been raised to be, and also help them educate them.
Yeah.
Because that's the part that they're missing, is the education
So
behind.
they need to find the balance.
Correct.
Yeah.
You need to help them find the balance
Okay.
where it's okay for you to also go to school in the afternoon and work in the morning because you're helping yourself and at the same time you're helping your family. That's okay.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and go take a little GED program in the afternoon, and in the morning you can go ahead and work. You don't need to just give up one or the other. It's nurture behind the fact that you also come first.
Yeah.
You are still a child. You need to also make sure that you pave way for your future,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because when you're living like that, you're literally living moment to moment.
It's called parentification.
Okay.
These are children who have been conditioned to become the parent. These are children who are either lacking a mother or a father. And the males, if there's no father figure, they are conditioned to become the father.
Yeah.
They are
The man of the
parentified
house.
to go ahead and be the man of the house. If there's no parent, period, they are conditioned and they're parentified to become the parent of the house.
What does that do mentally? What toll does that have you seen that? Like, can you think of an example or where you could literally watch the child
Yeah.
go through this whole process?
So children who are reunified with aunts, uncles, and they also have siblings with them, they become the parent to their siblings.
Okay. Yes.
The aunt and uncle are there to provide the basic necessities, but they're not really there to raise anybody else. So the older sibling gets to be the one that raises their siblings. Dysfunctional families. Perhaps they were reunified with their parent, but their parent has maybe certain conditions that doesn't allow them to perhaps raise their children. They're parents who need to provide, and therefore they're out of the house 12 hours a day to go ahead and work and provide for them. But who's left behind looking for the kids? The eldest child with the little one. So they go ahead and they feel like they need to be the parent. They'll cook for their siblings. They'll watch their siblings. Their parent isn't completely out of the picture, but they are out working 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to nurture while somebody provides.
So I'm one of three. My eldest for the longest time was my mom. Everyone thought that I was her daughter because where were my parents? My parents had to work.
That's parentification, where you cannot step down because you feel like you need to go ahead and do it because one way or another could be a good thing or could be a bad thing. The reason that your parent's not involved, parent could be working to be able to provide, or parent could just have abandoned you.
And that's going to stay with them forever.
100%. There are certain children that are able to break away from that and say, okay, well, I did what I could,
And that's
now I need to go ahead and serve my purpose. Not all children can come out of that.
It's more rare, to be honest with you. Because
I still go through that. I still go through that with my brother. My mom is a very present mother. My mother has always been there, but I have always been, again, a very independent child since I was a kid, and I still am a parent to my brother. Always.
Yep.
That's how it's going to be for the rest of your life. It's just a matter of having that education of knowing that, okay, it's also okay to not be that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I would do with the money. I would go ahead and I would make sure that I nurture and educate these children that they can do both. You can send money back home, but at the same time you can work and make yourself a person that you are happy with.
Yeah.
Not what's expected of you. But
You know what I think, though? I wonder if it's just a utopia to think that it's not, right? But the cynic, right, is like, well, in most of the world, children do live in this parentification, working since they're young, being independent. Actually, most of the world, they do that. There's, you know, is it like, we'd literally have to change society in a way, not just in America, but all over the world, to be able to, like it's sometimes it feels a little like a fever, like a dream to be able to provide this for all children, not because they don't deserve it, but because it doesn't exist, right? Because like we live in our little American bubble where we have the rights, right? But, and maybe in Europe and in a lot of countries and some countries in South America, right? But there's a lot that isn't like that. There's a lot of places in the world that don't move like that children are not number one priority, and like, I guess like seeing the way that the United States has been treating immigrant children the last couple decades, it feels even more like a mirage. Like it feels like we really are living in a bubble, and it's like, it's frustrating because I want to believe that we all as children, the kids deserve the right to have education, a home, to just grow up, to be innocent, right? Like there's such an importance to that, right? But it's also...
It's important to let go of that thought as well, though, because these children that are coming here that are already of 14
they're
and
adults.
up, they're adults in their head.
Yeah.
So you can't hold that to them. You have to allow them to acclimate.
Yeah, like what you said.
You
Nurture
have to.
them until they believe.
Absolutely, because there's nothing that you could do against that mentality when they're already of that age. They have built certain beliefs, certain thoughts.
Yeah.
That you're going to lose them, and this is why they leave, and this is why they're lost. Because instead of trying to learn with them, you're going against them. But I also understand that there's policies, there's certain things that you have to meet when there's grants, and when you're in leadership in those programs,
Yeah.
you have to go with what they're saying, because you know that the bigger picture is that if you don't do what they're asking of you, the whole program goes.
Yeah.
Then you are looked at as
The reason.
as you folded.
Yes.
You're giving in.
Yeah.
But they don't understand the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that if I don't fold or if I don't give in, these children don't get the help that they need. So it's okay to become a villain in that story. Right? But it's easy to go ahead and point the finger and be like, you folded on us. You betrayed us. But you don't realize that these people also are in this program because they believe in the program. Can't speak for all of them. But those that you can genuinely see, you can't hold it too much against them, because if they don't fold, the program goes and all of that help goes.
You can't risk that.
You can't risk that. And this is why I keep saying there's two faces to a coin. They look like the bad person on paper. But unless you're in it, you don't understand the sacrifices that they have to make with their own beliefs, with their own values.
Yeah.
So we have to keep having these conversations.
Yeah.
You can't stop.
You cannot stop. I think, like I said, the power of word is very strong.
Yes.
But we just want to say thank you, Fabi, for joining us in today's episode. I learned so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
And we want you to come back.
Oh my God, yes. I would love
We
to
want
have
you to
it.
come back. So we talked a lot about so many different things regarding your experience, immigration policies, what that specifically affects the migrant children, and how we can sort of collectively help them in more ways than one. So it's a lot to unpack, and I wanted to ask you, what helps you sort of decompress after a long, hard day of work?
So I found a lot of refuge in plants.
Ooh.
I found a ton of refuge in plants. I like to refer to myself as being a little bit of an introvert and an extrovert.
Okay.
So I'm always in the middle. So plants have always been able to do that for me. After all of this chaos that's happening right now in the community, I just find refuge in them. I love them, but they have gotten so out of control that I also started selling them.
Oh.
And so I also made it like a little side hustle kind of situation. So that's what I do.
Well, we love entrepreneurs here. So
Oh, that's right.
I'm not really sure where it's going just yet, because it's a concept that both my partner and I thought of. She came up with the name, and eventually,
What is the name?
photosynthesis.
Oh.
So, yeah. So Alejandro's a photographer, and obviously the synthesis for my plants. So we're still trying to come up with the concept of how we're going to integrate both of our hobbies together.
That's so cool.
So yeah,
That's so cool.
That's how we do it.
Oh, that's amazing.
So are you like, well, I guess you're still trying to figure it out. So it doesn't make, like, are you taking pictures of plants? Are you selling the plants?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
what's
a
that
concept
process?
that we can't share just
Okay.
yet.
Oh,
Right?
TBD.
But it is something that's very near and dear to both Alejandra's heart and my heart, which is every time I keep saying thank you for having us, I mean like, because she's also like a very big part of my world. So it's like every time I say it, I always include her. But it's something that we're still trying to figure out. But I do know that my part of the plants is just that. It's Hoyas. The name of like the genus of the plants is Hoyas. So that's just what I do. I grow them.
And there's a huge plant community out there, which I never knew about.
I didn't know either because again, I'm not an extrovert to the point where I'm going out to make new friends.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm going out there to buy plants, and if in the transaction I make a friend, then great.
So, Fabiola, how do you take your cafe?
I used to be a person that used to drink my coffee black.
Just black, straight up.
Just
nothing.
black.
Wow.
And I soon realized that
You're like, there's no joy in
there's
this.
no joy in it. So let's add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of flavor there. So now I just take mine light and sweet.
Okay.
Light and sweet.
See, I
that.
told you, coffee changes like allergies.
It does. It does. It does. And you know what? I'm not an iced.
You're not iced?
Either. Oh, I'm not a nice.
You know, I'm very surprised that a lot of people have said ice.
Yeah, I don't get that.
But you know, I think I'm the only. I don't know.
I don't care if it's 100 degrees outside.
Me neither.
I mean, I don't care. Either,
I will drink my coffee before I leave into the 100-degree weather, but my coffee is going to
I'll be like
consumed
sweating.
hot.
This is so good.
knowing that I have coffee running through my veins right now. Yeah.
Yep. And I saw your first episode,
Do you like it?
and I loved it. And I want to say,
Yes.
I am the spicy Latina.
I love it.
I am.
Decaf here,
baby. Decaf here.
This is not decaf soul anymore.
But
Oh
you
my
know,
god.
but like I was telling my partner, like there's always, again, I'm gonna always keep saying there's two faces to a coin.
Yeah.
Right? You're the other side to my coin.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I love that when you guys first introduced it, I was like, we were wondering, it's like, what does it mean? What is Decaf Soul? Like, I want to know how they got their name. So I'm like, it makes absolute sense. And we loved it.
So glad you
I'm so glad. We're so happy that you were here
Well,
with us
thank you guys
today.
for having us. Or me, because Alejandra's here. She's always going to be here, but
Yes, thank
Thanks, Fabi.
of course.
All right, guys. So that's it for today's episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Decaf Soul is produced by WNN World News Network.
Follow us at Decaf Soul Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. New episodes every Friday.